Hello everybody, Reggie Time here with another session of 10 cent ante short deck. We've been playing about 10 minutes trying to get the table set up, and we've already lost maybe a bind and a half due to still not being very good at all in pre-flops, but that's just part of the game. The biggest bad beat so far today has been they've done a little update on PP Poker, and I cannot appear to turn 4 colour deck back on. That is indeed a bad beat. Disappointing. Do I want to raise this thing? It's a little bit too weak to try and ISO raise on the button to Queen 9 against somebody who's very loose and aggressive and maybe limp jamming reasonably wide. So yeah, we've lost not tons, to be honest. We started the day 1,000. We started the tail end of yesterday's results count as today, but so we started the day 1,200 chips up. So we know we've got a reference point for the end of the video. I'm going to be recording until around 1 PM, which is just about 90 minutes from now. Then I'm going to go visit Mother, have a coffee with her, maybe punch some horses for an hour, and then I'm going to come back and play a second session for the day, but that one won't be being recorded. Wife is at work today still for another 4 and a bit hours, so I'm hoping to get at least a 3-hour session in, spread over 2 sessions, maybe even longer. Hoping to I'm trying to play at least 4 hours a day of this to increase my experience. Okay, trying to accelerate my learning and what have you. Because as much as these games, I'm happy enough playing them, you know, in terms of like, I just enjoy the game. I would like to be playing higher sooner rather than later, but I don't want to play higher until I am very, very confident that I definitely have a winning strategy under my belt, and the best way to do that is to just get volume in. We could just shove this ace king with 3 dead antes in there, but I'm not a huge fan of the just go all in when the pot's still relatively small strategy. We're going all in for like 10x pot. It's not really how I want to be approaching the game. But the problem is when you do this sizing, you quite often get 2, 3, 4 callers, and then you just miss a lot of flops and end up check folding a lot, which is the downside to using it like this. Exactly now, this flop was nothing we can do. We're just going to have to check fold. So we don't get as much fold equity pre-flop from hands that would fold to an all-in, but not to the 90. So there's like, it's like a double-edged sword, but you do then get more people limp calling with dominated hands that you can then stack post-flop. So I think we maybe we wouldn't have got that hand to fold, or maybe we would have got neither hands to fold. Who knows? Queen 10 suited. We've limped. I think we're just going to call. Pocket 10s facing 2 all-ins already, with plenty of people still to go behind us. We're not going to be getting involved. Top pair over here on a pretty coordinated board. We'd flop a straight here. And I think we want to be calling. This guy raised pre-flop. He could just have like 1 heart in his hand, like an overpair with the heart. I think we probably need to be calling this all in. And so we have the same hand. Queen King, this guy raised the turn. This guy just called again, which is indicative of a draw. Probably should have bet the turn. I think I made a mistake not betting the turn there. And now we're in a tricky spot if this guy bets big on the river. He didn't though. I'm not a fan of small pairs from this very first position, or not a fan of small pairs from many positions in this game, but I'd much rather play them for a limp in late position and limp early. Then, I mean, it's just too much that can go on behind for me to think that this is a decent play. Limping it early, could be wrong, but I think there's just way too much potential for the pots to get out of control, and then you just wasted an ante with a hand that can't take a whole lot of heat. This queen here on the button, certainly going to be a hand we're going to get involved with. I think we're going to be 3-betting it. Just question is, are we going to be 3-betting it all in, or are we going to be just 3-betting to a normal size? If one more player comes along, we'll maybe just pile it in. If this player calls. There's now 81 chips in the middle. Very much like to try and pick that up pre-flop. That can't be good. Chop it up. We made 30 chips on the deal. During this video, I'm going to try and focus more just on my play and my decisions, and very much less on critiquing the lines my opponents take. Queen 10 off. I guess we can peel this on the button. I have to imagine that's going to be a much better flop for us than it is our opponent. Just make a small stab here. And we pick it up. I think when a relatively tight player makes it a large raise from under the gun and then checks on a low flop, they're going to be check folding an extraordinary high percentage of the time. Call with our 9s on the button. Yeah. Could be a flop where we could, well, we can't get in trouble now, but we could have got in trouble had he used a, I mean, this just doesn't seem like it's a particularly good bet size to use on this board. Yeah, he's got it in against another 10, which is great news for him. But in general, I don't think like going all in for like 7x pot or whatever it was with trips on what is basically a dry board is going to be the best use of. It's not going to be the most optimal line there for that hand. Here we've decided to make a 16 anti-raise over multiple limps with the ace-jack suited. Again, I'm still not convinced. I don't know whether just all in is a better. It's something I hated seeing when I first started playing these games. Like, why are people going all in, like pre-flop all of the time? But if these like 80 anti-raises or whatever, 16 anti-raises, just don't really help you achieve isolation, and then you just like get blown off your equity post flop when you don't flop particularly well, then maybe, who knows, maybe the all in over 2 or 3 limps with a strong narrow range or narrowish range is good. Who knows? I don't want to bet here. I don't think. It just doesn't seem like we're going to get a better hand to fold. Yeah. Doesn't feel like we're going to get a better hand to fold. And it seems like we're going to struggle to find a worse hand to call us. Call with the Jack 10 down here. Flop the Donald Trump and get ready to check and fold. Yeah, so I think what we'll do for the next 15 minutes or so, with hands that we want to try and isolate with over like several limpers, I think we'll just try with the all-in pre-strategy rather than the raise to 80 and then not achieve isolation anyway and just set up some very strange SPRs, which I'm not particularly well drilled in playing. I mean, maybe that ace-jack once we turn the ace, maybe I should just be betting for value. Maybe we should just be ripping it in the faces. I don't know. Bottom two pair here on a very coordinated board is not something I'm going to be getting overexcited about. If all the money were to go in here, for example, we'd be like just a huge underdog versus people's ranges for getting it all in. $10-9 suited here, I think we'd have an interesting decision, but 10-9 off. We just have a fold. While he continues to bet this small, we just need to pay the man. Pay that man his money. We won. So pay this man his money. No joy for the eights. There would have been no joy for the 10-9 over here. 6-7 suited. Not sure I'm massively fond of these like small suited connectors. I think like 8-9 suited, 9-10 suited, 10-jack suited possibly are quite a lot better than 6-7 and 7-8. This is a hand we can certainly get involved with. We can't get involved with the ace-7 here. This guy just limps, which is something he doesn't do a great deal of. Perhaps this was a spot where we should have gone with our open rip, but aces feels like a waste to do with aces. Feels like a total waste to do with aces. And given we've got an SPR of like 1.25, then we're just going to have to die on our shield with the aces. Not like it that two people are all in. I mean, is there an argument for folding here? I mean, I think versus these two's combined, maybe we've got to call. Oh, got to do maths. In the meantime, we're jamming our Jack 10 over here. I think it's just to fold these aces. It wasn't a fold. It wasn't a fold. And then the Jack 10 lost over here. That's so we gambled with a hand that was behind and we folded a hand that was ahead. Well played, Reg. Just felt like between them they would have, if I wasn't already behind, they would have like a shit ton of equity against me. It felt like it could have been like a 20% dog, or even more than a 20% dog there, with 2 all-ins in front of me. Felt like it would have been a bit too reckless, whereas I think the open-end straight draw jam, in terms of like what equity we have when we get it in, was significantly better than the calling the all-in with the aces. But it was 2 reversals versus 1 all-in. It was just like, yeah, snap with the aces, but all-in, snap call. Felt like a spot where we don't want to be getting it all in. This was slightly stronger. I'd rip it. That ace jack suited against someone who's playing 67-20. Problem is, this hand just doesn't play very well post flop at all. He faces c-bet and we just get out of the way. So yeah, not been the most auspicious start to a session. But with plenty of time to put that right. Plenty of time to put that right. Why didn't I reload already in that? I don't know. Don't know why I didn't do that. We're not folding the ace jack suited. We should have folded the ace jack suited. A terrible start to a session. Getting absolutely whacked. We are getting whacked. Thankfully that wasn't... Was it too big of a pot? No. About half a buy-in. Can live with that. Overlimp the king queen. I think this hand's going to be way too badly dominated to do anything but fold here. I think, well, you're all in prees. You don't want these king queens, ace tens, ace jacks. You kind of want it to be more in the like queens, kings, aces, and then the jack 10 suited, 10-9 suited, things like that. Is going to be better than using hands that are going to be dominated by ace king, ace queen, that type of thing, and pocket pairs, and like large pocket pairs. I think there's some significant domination issues with king queen, even ace queen, I think, but maybe not so much ace queen, but there's stuff like king queen, king jack, ace jack. If you're the one calling all in, I think you're going to be in some pretty dominated situations. Rejam here with the king queen. This guy only limped behind. This guy's maniac. So he doesn't go all in. So I think king queen can be ahead of all ranges. It's, I mean, obviously now this guy goes all in too. We're going to need some luck. Not in terrible shape. Really cared about the ace getting there. We win the side pot from the 2 jacks. 30 chips here with our flopped trips. Not expecting a great deal of action, to be honest, but I'm not seeing like 8, 9, 10s. Anything in the 8, 9, 10 region wouldn't be a good card. I mean, there's nothing we're going to be able to do if he's just in there with the 10, 8 or whatever, then good for him. He's going to get our full stack. What a diabolical run out. Now we can't bet. Now we can only check and hope to win against like Jack X. Which we do. What a terrible run out. Folding the Queen Jack here. We limped and we face the jam. Be nice to see a flop with the 7s. Come on, 7 ball. Oh, we do get a 7 ball. Against straight draws here, we're virtually a coin flip. Against made straights, we're virtually a coin flip. So basically, we're a coin flip against a lot of things except pocket 10s. Gonna make a pretty large raise. We can get it in against draws here very easily. Get it in against things like jacks, queens that limped pre. Or we can just take it down in a spot where we're not too disappointed to just take it down. Certainly there's no slow playing of our hand over there. Our hand's probably just about as good as it's going to be on that board. It's not going to get better the board isn't going to get better for us very often. It's going to get worse for us a lot of the time. Excuse me if you heard me do a trump there. So we starting to pick up a little bit of steam. Still down quite a bit, I would imagine. 11, 15, yes, we're down 3 and a bit buy-ins. I never used to do that playing No Limit Hold'em. Now I'm just like obsessed with how my session's going. It's a mental game problem I need to fix. Because nothing good comes of doing what I've just done there. Like, oh, am I up or am I down for the session? What does it matter? The question is, am I playing well or am I playing badly in the session? The rest of it's just background noise. It's pretty fishy for me to do that. Pretty fishy. Fold the 10 jack. Not really that much going on in that board. We have a pair, 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. So, not too many good things on that board. The 8s don't improve. The 8s do improve on the turn. And we are behind to 6-9, but that's all. Well, and bigger sets, of course. I'm not worried about bigger sets the way this hand's played. That is a very dirty river. Way too many things get there now. Jack 10's got there. Any 6s are straight. Flush has got there. It's going to check back. And we beat the 10-9. I think when he checks, we just check back and win a lot. So I don't think necessarily we're beat when we check 2. I think a lot of the time we're going to have the best hand. The board's just run in a direction where we probably can no longer get value for our hand. Trivial fold with the top pair on very straighty looking board in a family pot. What is this min raise all about? We need to look at this. Min raise is virtually the nuts. Well, it was the actual, not virtually the nuts, it was the nuts. So that is clearly a bad play. Min raise, flop, nuts in position. That is good to know. Problem is we don't have the note tag. We have to like click people, and I'm not really in the habit of clicking people I already have tagged, because I'm not in the habit of taking notes really on PP Poker, because there just isn't a very large field in which to put your notes. You're limited quite significantly by the amount of characters you can use, and then also you're not even alerted to the fact you have a note on somebody. There's no little icon like it's on PokerStars. Well, on all sites basically, if you type a note on somebody, you get like a little, usually an N or something, to indicate you've actually typed a note. You are not afforded that luxury on PP Poker. Limp the ace king, we get a family pot. Flop a good shot. I limp the ace jack. I was toying with the idea of ripping it, but there's still 3 people who haven't acted yet to go behind us. Even though there's already been 2 limpers, which I've no doubt will be doing very well against their limping range with ace jack. With 3 people still to go behind, I prefer just over limping, I think. This guy puts a big squeeze on the button, which is going to fold. This guy's put a big squeeze, and I think we can limp shove ace queen here. I think we can. I think we're allowed to. We are in domination. No jack, no king. Happy days. We get lucky. I don't give a fuck that we got lucky. I'm just happy to have won the pot. It's going to make the session results look a bit better at the moment. We got it in about as bad as you can get it in this game there. Like ace king versus ace queen's a pretty bad get in. But we weren't to know he had ace king. He could just be sat there with like pocket kings, which we have more equity against than we have ace king. He could be sat there with like pocket jacks, which are a flip against, that type of thing. And just because he had ace king, he's going to fold the tens versus a large early position open. Yeah, just because he had like the one hand we didn't want to see. Or one of the 2 hands we didn't want to see. We didn't want to see aces of call. Obviously, it doesn't mean it's a bad play. Just we ran into the top of his range. I mean, this min raise over a limp isn't good, but we said earlier we're not going to discuss too much about our opponent's lines. We're not going to focus on them, how bad certain players might appear to be to me. very much focus on the quality of our own decisions. This ace king on the button. Over your 90 chips in the pot, we just go all in, try and pick up the pot pre-flop, and if not, then hope to have reasonable equity. These nines are going to be interesting. We've got like an open-ender I'm not thrilled about. We need his 10 quickly. We needed his 10 and we didn't get it. I think we need to call this half pot bet with the nines. I think it's when he like min raises pre and bets into 4 players. I do not expect him to be weak very often, but we just have too much equity to fold just yet. We now have a full house, but so does he probably. Won't be in a rush to call bets. But I mean, we're going to call this one and just lose. I think we're okay betting and just getting it in here with our double gut shot. Ace 9, we didn't lose. Or we can just take the pot down with our double gut shot. Either way, works for me. An odd day the weather is. Since we started recording this video, it's been dark outside, it's been bright outside, and it's been pissing down. I hope wherever you live in the UK, we've been suffering, well, suffering, that's the wrong word, but we've been under pressure from Storm Christopher. I know there's been some shit times for some people, been flooded out, etc. Hope wherever you are safe, warm, and not too wet. I'm okay. We're getting a great price pre there, but 6-9 offsuit. No, thank you. Session seemed a lot tamer than some sessions have been with what's been going on, which I think I kind of like. I prefer sessions that aren't like crazy rampant all in pre-flop type sessions. Thank the Lord he did that. I thought we were going to end up in a multi-way pot with our aces there. Now we just get to limp rip them and not expect him to fold very often. No! That wasn't meant to happen, was it? That wasn't meant to happen. Aww. I mean, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Should that flop came down like, wow, that man's got equity now. The man has equity. I think we're just going to lead out here with our top pair and gut shot. Oh, good, we get to go all in again pre-flop with a premium pair. Let's hope this one works out a little better. We have turned a straight. It's going to be hard to get action here, but we certainly don't want to be checking. Another premium pair gets ironed out. As you can see, this game is not for the faint of heart. We've had aces and kings all in pre-flop, and twice we've lost to an unpaired hand. If you're the sort of player that gets significantly affected by injustice tilt, then perhaps this wouldn't be the game for you, because we are getting crushed right now. Ace 10. Just limp. I'll have a little stab with my second pair now. Flop check through. Don't see how our hand can be good now the 7 has come. It certainly wasn't good. Excuse me, PP Poker. Could we win a pot, please? Time to get there. And we do. See, we asked nicely. Can we win a pot, please? And we were allowed to. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I'm not asking, can we please win a pot? Excuse me. We flop a straight. It's a good hand. Could be dead, but we flop a straight. This isolation range is way too small. Do we just lead out here with our Queen 9 suited? No, I don't think we do. We can check and call a bit. Oh, 10 gives us a straight. Spade gives us what is going to be the virtual nuts. I was tempted to rip there. I was severely tempted to rip. But we're getting such a good price to just call and see the next card. So what have we got here? We've got 5 spade outs. We've got 11 outs, which is 33%-ish. And we break. Tables are looking damn fine. Damn fine. The plan was to stop playing in 45 minutes, but if the tables stay as fine as this, then there's a good chance we won't be stopping playing, and I'll alter my plans for the day. I think if he calls, he's raised. Just call with the tens. I was considering dripping if he called, but given he didn't, now we have an overpair and a gut shot on a very dynamic board. Do we just bet call it off here? I guess once we bet there's no folding. Given the stack depths, this is just a rip. No one's more than 50 antes deep. See if we can get a big pair to hold. Be nice if it could. Won't lose any sleep if it doesn't. Just gonna check back the king jack on the button. Get it in against the 7-10 this time. We flop a set, which makes it pretty hard for our opponent to win, but he does somehow. He somehow did. Motherfucker. We go again. This time we have 2 kings. Maybe 50 blinds deep, that's just a rip. It's certainly going to be a rip now. Then we're going to fold our king jack, it's just a gut shot really. Now can we get a pair to hold? Can we please hold with a big pair? We've had aces, kings and queens ironed out already this session. That's going to win. Quad kings is going to win. My phone is going mad with messenger messages. I guess I need to check just in case somebody's wanting my attention. Several people appear to be wanting my attention. Overlook the King Jack. It was Zach here asking me if I wanted to start some tables. He was one of the messages, but we're already at them, Zach, so no. No. Gut shot. We have 2 red cards, so we'll let it go against Zach, who has the yellow tag from No Limit, but it appears he's also a yellow tag at this game too. Which is not at all surprising, and it's certainly not meant as a criticism. I think Zach's aware that I think he's quite a tight player, and I'm aware that Zach thinks I'm quite a tight player, so we're not breaking any secrets here. Zach gets ironed out by the open-ender with his set. So let's just, for our own amusement, see how we're doing. Down 23, only down 4 buy-ins, and when we've had big pairs ironed out left, right, and centre, that's how it's gonna go. I could go on a Negreanu-esque rant about how I'm just left with my beefy sausage in my hand most of the time when we get to rivers, but I'd like to think it appears I've got a slightly better mental game than our Canadian cousin. By the way, if you're not really following the Paul Negreanu challenge, it is just about over. Polk went into $1 million lead after last night's session, which I think puts him up around 1.2 million for the online portion of the challenge. Over 17,000 hands, which is a lot of big blinds per 100. Negreanu does appear to have been on the short side of luck, but I still think even allowing for that, it's super evident that he is a significantly inferior player. We're going to be jamming the queens. We've seen this guy call it off with Queen Jack and I think 10-9, but I'm not sure. Can't be sure about the 10-9, but definitely seen him call it off with the Queen Jack offsuit in a very similar situation. You got the 10-9 again. Oh wow, how's that for a flop? So that's 4 times in a row we've been completely ironed out by an inferior hand. I think we have to call this like min 3 bets just not good. And we're just going to have to fold now. We have a straight over here, just check there's no flushes on board. There is a flush on board, so we're only going to call. And chop it up. Then we're going to have half an hour of not limping strong hands in early position. I've been doing that for the last 3 days now, and it hasn't been working out particularly well. So still going to limp hands, but we're going to be very face up with our limping range. We're going to be limping most hands and then raising just with the very strongest hands. It's very exploitable if anyone knows that's what you're doing, but not super concerned about that for the time being. See if we can turn this journey around a little bit. See if we can get on a different direction of travel. We have an open ender here. We're not going to call. I'm going to go with a pretty big ISO with our 10-9 suited here from the cutoff. Obviously calling it off if we get jammed on. What is that flop all about? I mean, given our hand's got no equity whatsoever, I think we just go with a small c-bet to fold out any dead money that's in there, to collect any dead money that's in there on such a very dry board that you would imagine significantly favours our range. Zach limping in here. We have the ace and 10 of the same colour. Same suit even. Hopefully Zach isn't limp shoving, because that would make me want to cry. He isn't. We take it down. I'm not going to bet our Queen 10 on that board. That one pair, whilst it might be like the best hand at the moment in terms of equity, it's not going to be faring very well. We do revert a straight, but we are not going to be calling a almost 7x pot size shove when we can only hope to chop at best and probably lose to the King 10 a decent amount of the time. Not sure I love the call of the all-in with the 2 10s there. By not sure, I really do mean I don't like it. I am sure I don't like it. On the other hand, I do like that board. We have some protection from diamonds by holding one ourselves. We've been raised, which we like. We are all in. And we managed to lose. Going with the raise this time instead of limping with our 2 kings. See if that helps our premium hands fare any better. Well, we have an overpair plus a gut shot and a pretty decent SPR of just 2. We just bet here and go broke. Blocking King Jack is pretty nice. Doesn't mean to say you can't have it, of course. He has King 9 and wins with the Jack. Wow, this game is not being fun today. This game is not being kind to me today. I mean, he was pretty fucking dead there. He had, what, 6 outs? With a card to come. That hurts. That hurts. I think like all the run good I had last week, I think this week it has been the absolute polar opposite. I mean, I thought at one point, you know, I'm running really hot and massively above EV. I'm not sure I am anymore. I think most of that has been ruthlessly ripped back from us this week. I mean, this has been a fucking brutal session so far. Absolutely brutal. That is not the flop we were hoping to see. Oh dear me. Look, 6s. we pick up a gut shot on the right hand side table and the nut flush draw. We're going to be betting if check 2. We're going to be just calling now, I think. A reasonable price. We do not get there, which is unfortunate because in a multi-way pot, that's when you want to be getting there. Excuse me. Go with like a raise that commits us at this stack depth to call a shove. With the king queen facing all these limps. Again here we're going to go for the early position ISO with the king queen. Here we've got like probably not much fold equity, but he's only got 71 chips behind. We are pretty much crushed until that comes. Doesn't seem fair on him, but fuck him. I have got bad wind today. Bad wind. I'm already feeling more comfortable now we are not just like limping everything. I know that like limping most things in this game is considered the default strategy, but I feel it hasn't been working as well in these games as perhaps it does in more in games with more like seasoned players. And I think I'm starting to feel that by limping pre, for example, this should be a limp, but I'm just going to open it. By limping pre, you end up like going like multi-way in relatively small pots, and then not really flopping well enough, often enough, to justify continuing post flop. Whereas by opening, you do thin the field a little bit, and then you get to hopefully value bet more flops. This is just going to be an all-in. Pretty rough shape, but we get there. Pretty rough shape. But given what's happened so far this session, you're not going to catch me complaining about sucking out on people. It's just what this game is. It's just a game of like... It's not a game of suckouts. That's wrong. That's not fair. That isn't fair. But it's a game where equities run so close together that you're going to see what theoretically is the worst hand pre-flop, like just winning a reasonable amount of the time. And Yeah, I think you just get way too many multi-way pots when you limp, and then yeah, I think I prefer raising good hands, limping bad hands from all positions, and then just like be as face up as that is being. I think it's probably a better strategy than limp everything and then have some limp raises, because I think too often you just don't get to get the raise in, the limp raising. I don't know. Could be talking right at the top of my head. I really need to clear my throat. A real big frog in it. We're going to bet small on this flop and then just shove turns. I'm going to bet like 70 chips. Now I think we just go all in. If he hasn't had like tens or jacks, he's going to have a hard time folding it. Thankfully he did have queens rather than tens. This frog in my throat is doing my fucking nutting. So hopefully our mid-session change in strategy will bring about a much better second half. I've decided I'm going to play for another 40 minutes now with the altered strategy. See if we can improve our situation live on video. I think also when you're doing the limping thing, well, for me anyway, it then encourages me to limp stuff like this, which I don't even think is that good a limp, to be honest. But I'm limping more so I can limp with some more weaker hands, because you know my limping range is strengthened by the premiums that I'm limping. I think if I don't limp as often, then so if I don't limp as often with premium hands, then I'm going to feel less inclined or less able to limp weaker stuff too. If that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I might not have articulated it very well. We can't fall for 5 chips, sir. We can't fall for 5 chips. And that's why. This is the fun thing though about learning and starting a new game, because you like my no limit hold'em strategy is pretty much set in stone. I just do the same things pretty much all of the time and kind of just feel comfortable with that. But with a new game, you're like, oh, you learn something, so oh, try that, and then you learn something else, and you think, oh, I'll try that, and you're constantly able to just like mix and match strategies, try and learn new ones, take things into account that you've heard, and yeah, it's good fun, because like last week I was doing what I'm doing now, and it worked really well. Then I thought I'd learn something, so I started doing something differently, and I've started doing really quite badly. So obviously in this video, the strategy, like we got our money in good shape enough times, But it hasn't worked out for us. That doesn't say it's a good strategy. Maybe I'm adjusting when I shouldn't be adjusting. But you're just constantly like, oh, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that. Maybe it just makes things much more interesting. And excites you to play. You're like, oh, right, well, this isn't working, but I think I've just learned this, so maybe next session we'll try this. And it makes the sessions more exciting. It makes it's like a voyage of discovery, isn't it? Rather than just like doing the same trip every day. You know, like when you're driving to work, you see the same roads, the same buses, the same people, etc. It's like we're on a different journey every day at the moment because we're doing different things every day, trying to achieve a strategy that we feel we can rely on and replicate day after day after day. The minute we're not there, but it's good fun trying to figure out what's what. It is good fun. Just going to jam the ace queen here at these depths. I think it's fine. We're going to have a little stab with the 10-9 here when it checks through. Don't have to go too big on a monotone flop. Hey, we've dodged a Jack 10 beating us. We've managed to successfully get it in against a Jack 10 or a 10-9 and not fucking lose. That is quite remarkable. That is cause for celebration if ever I saw it. We have to get it in here against this guy's stack. We can't open the Queen Jack and then fold to a reshove. Do we get there? Oh, we do. Do we? What a fucking game. What a game. We're not winning this one. Don't want to spoil anyone's fun, but we're not winning this one. Let's take 1,000 chips off here. So we were 2,000 chips down. We haven't done that well, have we? That's that minus 700. Oh, we clawed a tiny bit back. We've clawed a tiny bit back. We're less than 2,000 chips down now. Can we get back to even? Or somewhere close to even in the next 45 minutes or so? Or are we going to be dragged back into the pit of despair? I mean, being 3 buy-ins, or just over 3 buy-ins down in this game in an hour and 15 minutes is incredibly normal. And the way that we got into the hole is incredibly normal. Don't feel like I've made any huge mistakes so far. We just haven't been on the right side of variance. But that's not to say you can always just blame luck when you lose, because then you become Daniel Negreanu again. You know, I mean, I think I'm entitled to claim we've been unlucky this session. But it would be wrong to just like focus on that and not focus on all the times I got incredibly lucky last week. I think at the end of the video we'll look at our overall results so far, figure out what our big blind per 100 is, and probably still be like, yeah, to have that level of big blind per 100, you've probably not ran terribly overall. Again, at this stack depth there'll be no folding. Now we've got like an SPR of less than 2. Top pair and a gut shot with the backdoor flush draw is just going to have to go in. I'd rather be the one putting the money in than calling it off. I think when we put it in, we get it in much better than when we call someone's all in. And if we can pick up the 160 chips money that's in the pot without seeing another card, then it's going to be a fine result. So anyway, in the chat, because we don't get many comments, and I like comments. Whether you're a short deck player or not, and I'm aware many of you won't be, do you prefer the limp everything and then decide what to do facing a raise strategy, or do you prefer the strategy of limp some hands, raise other hands, or do you prefer a strategy of just never limping? Which do you prefer of those three strategies? And it doesn't matter if you've never played a hand of short deck in your life. Tell me what you prefer. I think I prefer the mixed strategy of limping and raising personally, even though I know that makes me exploitable versus my regular opponents. There's enough bad players in these games for me not to really care too much about that. And then the next question is, if we prefer the limp and raise strategy, then what sizes do we want to be looking at for our raises? This is one where the limp strategy might have worked better, because we've tried to isolate, we've failed, we've built a large pot, and we've flopped big fat airball. Had we limped, we'd be in for a lot less here. But I think that, personally, I prefer building a pot with strong hands. I think. Just build a pot with a strong hand and then value bet appropriately post-flop and have the discipline to get away post-flop when you don't improve. I think that overall, creating those bigger pots so we win bigger pots post-flop with our perceived range advantage. I think overall I prefer that strategy. But I'm saying that as somebody who's got 2 weeks experience in the game versus players who've got way more experience in the game than me, who are strong advocates of like limping a hell of a lot and looking to set up limp raises. I just look round the pre-flop raise stats of these tables and think, and I think I could probably refine it further actually, because I look around the pre-flop race stats and I think tables where there isn't, like, most players are single digit PFRs and like very low 3-bets, I think probably raising at those tables most of the time with most of our range is going to be the play. And then at tables where you have more of these types of players, maybe setting some traps with some limps is the play. Maybe we need to be very aware of each table dynamic we're at and have a different strategy depending on what's going on at the table. That would be probably the absolute best approach. It's much easier to do that when you're playing fewer tables and not recording. This checks down, maybe ace jack's going to be good. No, it's not. 10-9, doesn't bet his full house on the river. I think he probably should bet 10-9 there if he bets a reasonable size. I might have heroed, for example. This guy is interesting. He doesn't half set games up to go wild. He is pretty damn aggressive pre-flop. Just does not fall to 3 bets under any circumstances almost. We're raising here and not folding if he goes all in. He gets it in with a easily with a wide enough range where ace nine's just going to be doing fine. See him get it in with like king highs, queen highs, 10 highs, jack highs. Not in love with the call, but we're going to make a stab on a pretty dry flop. Some pretty good turns for us. That wouldn't be one of them. It does improve our equity slightly, but we don't pick up any fold equity, so we're not going to be wanting to bet into him. So this person has an 8% 3-bet, but then he doesn't 3-bet queens. It's interesting to know. Again, it's like theoretically it's a decent board for us to bet. We do have a good shot. And we see bet and take it down. It's another thing that being the pre-flop raiser gives you. It gives you the initiative and probably buys you reasonable fold equity post-flop. I don't know, that could be bullshit. But had I limped the ace queen there, the pot would have been much smaller. We'd have, if we wanted to have a bluff at the pot, we'd have been using a much smaller bet size and had much less chance of getting it through against like weaker holdings. We don't have the nuts here, but unless I get raised, we're going to treat our hand like it's the nuts. Now, whether it's a better strategy or not, I'm definitely feeling more comfortable, like severely restricting the amount of limping that we're doing pre-flop. I just feel more. Well, that's probably still a hangover from my no limit hold'em days. But yeah, I feel way more comfortable like raising pre-flop, c-betting boards that are theoretically good for our range. That's my comfort zone. It's probably not the ideal strategy for this game, given the stuff I've read, watched, listened to. But at the moment, it's how I feel most comfortable approaching it. So perhaps we should just be doing what we feel most comfortable with. Working on the assumption that it's not a bad strategy. It might not be optimal strategy, but it's not. At least it's not a bad strategy. And then slowly but surely just adjusting our game as we go along, rather than being like, right, I'm just going to be a limper now, which is a big adjustment from someone who's used to like just never limping from the games he's played to all of a sudden being, right, I'm a limper now, that's what I do. That's a huge adjustment. To maybe saying, look, I'm aware we need to be working some limps into our game, but at the moment I'm still going to be doing a lot of pre-flop raising. Maybe that's going to be a better way to like adjust into the optimal strategies. I don't know. Again, could be talking bollocks. Going to be mucking our top pair here. I think if limping pre-flop isn't inducing light-ish isolation raises which we can then jam over, then, which I suspect it maybe does in tougher games with more that are more like densely populated with regulars, then does that significantly devalue the limping strategy? Should we, that I don't know. I'm just chuntering away here to myself, just thinking out loud, really. Because we're limping pre-flop because the pot's lane is good odds to limp, and then we're limping strong hands because we want to have some strong hands in our limping ranges to fight back versus aggressive isolation raises. But if the aggressive isolation raises aren't coming and people are typically only being aggressive pre-flop with like pretty strong hands, then what is the limp buying us, I guess? We've been check raised here, which tells me this guy probably has 10-9. We only have a gut shot. We are going to fold. Now this is one where we are going to try and limp the 8-9 suited, because this benefits from seeing some cheap flops. We're not going to see one. But do we then just call against this guy now? But against 2 all-ins, I think we just call with the 8-9 now. And we're going to have reasonable equity with our 8-9 suited, because these guys probably likely to have high cards. I'm going to jam to try and fold this guy out. It didn't work out with the 8-9 there, but we had the right price to go with our hand. I think this hand wants to limp rather than raise. James doesn't do a lot of C betting, so we're going to rely on that here. I'm looking at the time and I'm looking at the tables and I'm still not wanting to end the session. So this could be a long one. You guys already know how long it is, of course, but I don't know. I don't know how long this session's going to be. It could be another 2 fucking hours. Could be easily be another 2 hours. And you know what I think I might do? I might treat myself to a new computer and start streaming these games to YouTube rather than doing videos. Because obviously we can stream them and then they will still stay there in YouTube for people to watch at their own leisure. And I'd have more interaction, then I could chat with you guys, have some fun. I think I'm just going to go all in with Ace Queen here, I think. This guy has shipped it on us. I think we're going to call. Do we get to hold? Yay! We do. We hold. Ace 9 to hand that wants to overlimp. Ace 9 suited. This guy loves an overbet, doesn't he? He fucking loves an overbet. He's delighted to bet 2.5 times a pot. Jack 10 from this position wants to limp. If he raises, well, we're going to call versus that size. It would have been a tougher decision had he made it larger. Versus that size, we're just going to limp. We're going to hope to flop really well, and we're going to check to him because he loves to massively bet. But sadly, we haven't flopped well enough to want to see him bet huge. There goes the overbet again. He's having a whale of a time. He's loving life. His nut flush draw, is he going to get there? No, he's not. So sadly, his strategy works every time until it doesn't. Let's hope he reloads. Rooting for the reload from Raynon. Oh, he has reloaded. He's reloaded fat too. Fat reload from the Raynon. Pretty sure there's not one. James. That's got to be a misclick. That has to be a misclick. Good luck, us. No. King 10. Flop trips. And then still managed to lose. I don't think there's any ending the session while this dude is existing. He's just done a chip withdraw, which doesn't really make any difference to us, given that we don't play deep ourselves. Needless to say, if he does something crazy, then we are not folding our 10s. Zach's gone with the big ISO. I think we have 0 fold equity against Zach. I'm going to just let the 10s go. I want to be in pot to this dude, but Zach's shown quite a lot of strength there. Let's see, a nice brick on the turn. Well, let's see a jack on the turn. If not a jack, then a nice brick. I'm not sure what fucking bricks are left in the deck. 8-9 just got there. Wow, what do we do here? Think about it, Reggie, think about it. Right. So 8-9's got there. Nothing else has got there. I don't fucking know. I guess we just pot it and hope the 8-9 isn't out there. And if it is, hope to get there. I mean, no idea what this guy's just calling with. We're going to hit almost every river. I know that much. We're going to hit every single river. Right. King Queen's bricked, Ace Queen's bricked, Ace King's bricked, Ace Queen's bricked. We're going to go with a check and hope he bluffs. And he did bluff. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I was considering calling. But we're not going to. This, if it falls, if it just limps around, well, I think it's going to be a jam no matter what, I think, isn't it? With the 10-9 suited. I think if we call, we're just going to, like, lose so much equity. I think like going all in pre-flop here is probably better than calling, missing, or getting in weird spots post-flop. This might seem spewy, but 10-9 is going to do pretty well post-flop against most hands. And was trying to say there. I was too busy watching the action. Oh, we haven't put enough chips on. Yeah, like all in pre-flop. 10-9's going to do just fine. And if we have any fold equity, then that's fantastic. But if we just call and then, you know, we just don't get to realise all of our equity, because we're just going to sometimes not flop marginally and then just face action and get blown off. Get blown off our hand. Whereas pre-flop, we might sometimes get folds. Rarely, very especially against this guy. But then even when it does all go in like there with 10-9 suited against those two hands, I mean, we were fucked because he had a 10 in his hand with a better kicker. But yeah, I'm comfortable with that play. Although I am aware that once people raise, pre-flop fold equity isn't really a thing. I mean, the low variance play is just to fold there and not give a fuck. It's like, right, fine. Two people have put chips in, let's just get out of there. So we didn't need to take that spot. We could just have folded. It was a spot we didn't need to take. But maybe sometimes he folds and he calls with a hand that we're doing well against, and then we flip over the dead money. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. King Jack suited is going to be an open. It's going to be an ISO raise. And again, there's probably going to be not much folding of this pre-flop once we put the 50 in. We flop a king and an SPR of 1. I mean, I guess this is fine. Don't know, to be honest. Didn't work out. Ace 10. It's just too easily dominated. It's just, I don't care that it's suited. The suited factor isn't as important, I don't think. And it's just going to be dominated way too often. 10 Jack suited there. I think we probably just ship it. Just notice this player probably shouldn't have limped this hand, given we got an absolute maniac to go behind us. Again, this guy's gone for the, well, it doesn't matter now because Zach's put all the chips in. I was contemplating whether we call, raise or fold. Still don't know what it would have been. Zach got ironed out, but then he re-ironed him out on the river. Nice hand, Zach. Very easy shove here with the ace king on the button. That's not good news. Although the guy is wild, so... No 10. Don't put a 10 down. Thank you. Thank you. I think we're clawing it back slowly but surely. At our peak we were stuck like 2200. for the session. That's down 2,500. We ain't down 800 now, it seems. We can confirm that by going to this thing and going to here. We was 12,1213 for the day at the start. Now we're down 600. So we're down. Yeah, so those tables aren't keeping track properly correctly, because it appears we are still down 1,800. So I'm suggesting I play one of these tables yesterday that hasn't been closed. Ace Jack facing 2 all-ins, one from a very nitty guy. Just no reason to get involved here. Oh, we'd have been in the roughest of rough shape. This is just raise and then there's no folding. Checking back the 2 pairs here. River a full house. Only calling, not raising. Although we could have got good value on a raise, it seems, against the straight. I think King Jack's going to be a raise, but then fold to further action. We're going to try and isolate this jam with the Queen 10. Going to try and isolate this limp. Queen 10's in reasonable shape here. Queen 10's in excellent shape here. Queen 10 makes our second quads of the day. We love to see it. Slowly but surely digging our way out. Slowly but surely. I think this like small comeback that we're on is a testament to my mental game. I never used to have this mental game back in the day, back like 10 years ago, maybe even just 8 years ago, maybe even 6-7 years ago. I would not have had anywhere near a strong enough mental game to compete in these games. I would just fucking, I'd just be torching money. But as you've witnessed yourselves, by the way, once we ISO this, there's no folding it. But as you've seen during this video, I've managed to stay fully off tilt, not even got close to tilting, and also remain composed enough to question whether my strategy is correct and make some adjustments. May or may not be good adjustments, but we still managed to make them with a clear mind, which, you know, I'm really pleased that I'm capable of doing that, because lots and lots of players just aren't capable of that. They just either stick to a strategy that isn't working, or they deviate from their strategy in a way that isn't positive, and they just tilt and start doing crazy things. And this isn't just because I'm on video. I'm like, oh yeah, fucking you can't go monkey tilting because you're on video. It's just genuinely how I am now when I play. You know, I'm playing a very high variance game. I'm gonna lose, you know, a decent amount of the time. I'm just going to lose. I'm going to have losing sessions. That's just how it's going to be. And if you're going to get triggered by your losing sessions when you feel like, you know, there's a lot of injustice, then how would you hope to be a winning player long term in these games? You just can't be. You just have to roll with the punches and keep trying to do what you think is the right thing, which is folding here to a maniac with an underpair in this instance. With the pair and the straight draw, I think we just bet and never fold here on this table. Obviously we're in bad shape, but we get there. Things are definitely turning around. Here we are going to check and jam on this guy if he bets. Because we already know he loves to bet, he loves an overbet. I mean, it's high variance, we could already be beat, he could have decent equity against us, but I think it's a correct play against this particular player. And we drag another one down. All of a sudden, the comeback is very real. And that is, even though, you know, if we bet there, he's probably never folding his hand. I'm pleased that it went down the way it did. It shows that we're paying attention and we're looking for ways to exploit our opponents as best we can and exploit their tendencies. So even though the hand would have gone down the same way, you know, we'd bet, he jams, we call, we still, you know, either way there, we're just going to win a big pot. But the way we did it is what I like best. I think we raise fold our tens here on the river. The only person I don't want to see shoving here will be this guy because we're like quite a bit deeper. But I think once the pot gets to this size, again, we've just chose a hand where there's just going to be no folding pre-flop, and if this guy has like limp trapped, then he's going to get some very good news. That isn't the flop we wanted, but never mind. There's no bluffing of this flop. I mean, there's way too much going on. Draws aren't folding. Ace-X isn't folding. We're just giving up now. We're done with it. He snap jams, which I'm delighted for him. It's not showing. It's not showing him a face, but I am truly delighted for him. With these guys behind who like raising, which is going to muck the sevens. Just going to muck them. Turns out another guy was the one who raised. We would have made a straight, but never mind. I think against any of these players, this ace-jack is just to raise and then just not fold. the stack depths. As it is, we flop 2 pairs. We just bet big and not fold. That is a diabolical turn card. Because now we can't bet. I don't think we can bet anyway. And we can't call when he goes all in. So I guess that's just how it is. Oh, he checks back. Now I guess we have to call if he goes all in on the river. Oh, we just get to win. He just doesn't try and bluff us. Here we have 2 overs and a gut shot on a board where I don't expect to get any folds if I bet. So I'm just going to check. Still checking. 1 pair's not a very good hand in this game. Even if it is the best pair with the best kicker. Still checking. If it checks down, I guess we win. Comeback is real. The comeback is real. Have we gone green for the day yet? Oh wow, we're only down 200 chips for the day now. That's nice. Given how badly the session went early, it's nice. And as you can see for the month, we're still up 30 buy-ins in just 7,500 hands. So our win rate, we're still going at a hell of a clip win rate terms in these games. If you'd have said to me at the start of last week, Reg, you're going to win 30 buy-ins in 7,500 hands, I'd have been like, fucking yes. After we won something like 25 of those buy-ins in the first 2 days, and we won 40 buy-ins in the first 4 days, I'd have been disappointed with 30 buy-ins. But overall, you said to me, Reg, you're going to play 7,500 hands, you're going to have a lot of fun doing it, and you're going to make 30-ish buy-ins plus rate back. I'd have been like, yep, give me that here, I'll take that, thank you. We just have to go on a wild ride to get there. But only being 200 chips down now is a delight, because we were probably getting on for 5 buy-ins down in the first half an hour. And I'm really pleased to not give a fuck about the money. The money's not whatever. 5 buy-ins down, $50 down, big deal. I've been $50 down a million times. Doesn't bother me. What really, really pleases me is how I've managed to remain calm, remain focused, and produce what is currently my best game, or as close to my best game as it can be. If we win this pot, we'll get right out of the hole, because we ain't folding, I can promise you that. Black, please. Oh, not red. No, not red. Ooh. Ooh. Shouldn't have got greedy. I got greedy asking for a flush. And I shouldn't have got greedy. I should just have been like, fine, chop it up. We'll take the chop. No, I got greedy, and it reminds me of a story from years ago. There was a little cunt in a workplace, and there was a new manager, and he was a complete bell end. And I'd done something stupid, but not sackable. And I knew it was not sackable. And before I went into the meeting, because he was a bad manager, he'd been speaking to one of his friends about how the disciplinary meeting was going to go. And he said, I'm going to take Reg right to the edge. I'm going to let him think I'm going to sack him, and then I'm just going to give him a verbal warning. And obviously I was aware of this for away in the meeting. And I was aware that what I'd done couldn't be more than a verbal warning. So I was just being a cocky little cunt in the meeting to not allowing him to have the pleasure of thinking I'm scared I'm going to lose my job, and then him being the hero and giving it, but Reg, I like you, I'm going to let you off kind of thing, we're just going to do this. Did not want to give him the satisfaction of doing that to me, so I was just a little cunt in the meeting. And my point I'm making is, that's what the poker gods did to me there. I asked for a flush, they're like, no Reg, that's greedy, and then they put a potential reflush out there against me just to teach me a lesson. Don't be greedy, Reg, because we can fuck with you. That's what they were saying there at the poker gods. They were like, Reg, you've been too fucking greedy there, so we're going to show you what could potentially happen if you're too greedy, but because we like you, we're not actually going to punish you. So yeah, that's what happened there. And it reminded me of a story of my life from, fuck me, must have been over 20 years ago now. Seeing less pink at the tables. We've been playing for 2 hours. Might be a reasonable time to take a break. Set this video doing its rendering thing and go up to Mother's whilst it does its thing. Have a coffee, have a little bet on the horses, and then come back and fire up a second session about an hour and a half from now. Because we're seeing like we were littered with pink earlier. Now we're getting more of these blue players, which are still not good players, but seems like a good time to take a break. So I think that's what we'll do. Stand up from all our tables, get our final result. Which is plus 977. That's 23. We've lost 230. We lost like 50 antes during the session, which given how it started, I'll absolutely take. Really pleased with the session, pleased with the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it too. It's been a mammoth 2-hour session. There won't be another video now until probably Tuesday next week. Won't have time to make one tomorrow. Never make them over the weekend. Monday I'm working, so yeah, probably going to be Tuesday morning next time I get a chance to record a session. So have a fantastic weekend. If you're trying these games out, be lucky. If you're trying, well, whatever you're playing, be lucky, stay safe, look after yourselves, look after everybody else around you, and we'll see you after the weekend. Bye bye for now.